Our first project is making a magical dandelion garland. Of course, we need dandelions for this, and we want to look for spent blossoms. What I mean by that is after the yellow flower has bloomed, but before it turns into the puffy seed head. Gather as many as you want to make whatever length of garland your heart desires. The important thing here is to look for flower heads that are no longer yellow, but they haven't started to open yet. The closed end should be completely white for best results. If you pluck the heads while they are still too yellow, the seed head might not open up. If you look at the examples that I picked, they all have white sticking out the end. I left all the yellow ones behind. I want y'all to know the lengths I went to create this video, including stepping in a fire ant hill. Not intentionally, of course, but you know. To assemble our garland, we will need a needle and thread. This step is pretty straightforward. After threading my needle, I will string the dandelion heads onto the string. I have several different sized heads, so I arranged them in the order I wanted and put them on the garland. You want to insert the needle through the bottom of the bud where the stem was and out through the white fluffy end. String them on as close or far apart as you want until you have a full garland. A quick note after you are done with the needle: it will likely be sticky from the dandelions. I highly recommend immediately washing off the needle with soap and water so that the gunk doesn't dry on the needle and ruin it. Now here comes the fun. Hang your garland and wait for the magic. I hung mine over the kitchen sink next to some herbs that I'm drying out, and you might notice a few buds already started to open that first night, and within 2 days they had all opened up. It's so pretty and gives off these fairy vibes. Now, something you might be wondering, which I wondered before trying this project, is do they drop all over inside? I've had this garland up for over 2 weeks and they are not dropping seeds. When it's time to take it down, they don't really make a mess. I just scoop them into a container and dispose. Mine went into the trash because there's an abundance of seeds where I gathered mine and nature ain't gonna miss these. But of course, you could scoop them into a bowl and return them outside where you collected them. Next, we are going to make seed pod dragonflies. These look so cute hanging indoors or outdoors, and I love that this project is both free and biodegradable. Crafting doesn't get much better than that. I first saw this idea using helicopter seeds from a maple tree, but where I'm at they haven't started forming yet. So instead, I gathered some seed pods from a redbud tree. These pods are still green, which would work fine, but mine ended up drying out inside for a couple weeks because it took me longer to get this filmed than I'd expected. But either way, green or dried out should work. We also need a small twig in a Y shape for the body. I got terrible footage of this because my cat Shadow insisted on bumping into me and the camera, so here's cat footage instead. Gonna go for a walk together? Each dragonfly uses 4 seed pods and a twig. We'll use a needle and thread again to assemble this project. Cut a long piece of thread about 2 feet long so we can assemble and hang it up. First, run the needle down through the end of the top right wing. Then go under the twig and up through the end of the top left wing. Finally, tie it all together snugly. The way I describe it sounds so simple. The way it looks on camera does not look that smooth, but I promise it's just a matter of running the needle through things and tying it together, and you can adjust things however you want. And when I tie it, I like to double knot it to keep it secure. Now repeat the process to join the bottom pair of wings. Use the same thread, go down through the end of the bottom right wing, underneath the twig, and then up through the end of the bottom left wing. Double knot it with the short end and it's assembled. The last thing we need to do is trim the short end, then run the long end up through one of the seed pods so we can hang it up. Pay attention to where you run this through because it will determine how the dragonfly balances. You can also slide the wings up or down the twig to balance it better. And as you might have noticed, the seed pods can be adjusted, so position them to get the look you like. I hung mine up outside and they look so cute swaying in the breeze. Again, this is a great project because it's made from natural materials and will decompose. And when that happens, you can reuse the thread to make a new dragonfly. Alright, this next DIY, I'm going to warn you, is a little bit tricky. I've watched a lot of people do this, and when they show it to you, most people don't show you just how tricky it is. But the good news is, I'm going to show you the tips and tricks that I found to get this to work if you're struggling with it, and then I'm going to show you a second method, so that way if you can't get the first method to work, you can still get this DIY to work. And what we're going to do today is take this stem from a zucchini squash plant, and we're going to turn it into a horn that we can play. So the first step is to cut the leaf off the top. And when we cut the leaf off the top, we want to keep the top sealed. In person, it's easy to see. I don't know if we'll be able to get this to show on the camera or not. All right, but you see when I shine a light through it, how it's a little bit darker right there? In person, you can see that better. Basically, that's showing kind of where it's sealed and then where it's open. So we're gonna cut this leaf off, and we want to keep it sealed across, but we want to cut as far down as we possibly can. What I find works best for this is if I use a sharp pocket knife, and I'll set this on a surface like on a rock, and I'm going to cut off the leaf. Alright, so I'm going to use this stool I'm sitting on as my surface to cut, and I'm going to cut the leaves off, but it's kind of hard to tell, but in person you can usually see a bit of darkness where it's still sealed at the top, so you don't want to cut the top open, you want it to stay sealed. So if you look at this, the top is still sealed. Meanwhile, the rest of the stem is hollow. So when you cut your stem off the plant, it's going to be hollow at one end, and when we cut the leaf off the other end, we want to make sure we keep it sealed. All right, once we have the leaf cut off of our stem, we want to take our knife and kind of just at an angle scrape along the stem, because as you've probably realized by now that you've picked your zucchini stem, there's all these little spines. They get in my hands all the time. They feel like little splinters. You definitely don't want these in your lips. And of course, while you're at it, you can also scrape them off the rest of the length of the stem, so you don't have to hold on to them. Also, I just scrape off wherever I'm holding in my left hand. This next step's very simple, but not easy. Meaning it's not a complicated step, but to get it to work can be difficult. All right, if we look at the top of our stem, it's kind of got a triangle shape. If we look here at the leaf that was cut off, we have these three main branches going off the leaf, which creates like a little circular shape here, a circular shape here, kind of flat on this side, and then a circular nub down here. So it's almost like a triangle where this side's flat and then triangle side, triangle side. That corresponds to our stem. So you want to look at your stem and find the tip of the triangle. So where this middle vein of the stem was cut off from. Honestly, if you can't find it, that's okay. Just find at least one of the nubs, because it's going to give it just a little bit more stability so we get that good vibration to make the sound. So once you find it, you're going to go along that side, and we're going to cut a notch in here. We want to come as close as we can to the top, but we don't want to cut the top open, so we're going to come down just a little bit from the top. Insert the tip of our knife in. Don't go through the back side, so only go through one side of the column of the zucchini, and we're going to gently slice straight down just a little ways. Now, I personally like to slice less than more because I can always slice more as we go along. It's also helpful with your knife to kind of wiggle it open just a little bit. And at this point, if you're really lucky, you've made a squash vine that'll work. I'm usually not lucky, but we'll see. So to play this, I like to rest the bottom of it kind of between my front two teeth on the bottom, like that. And let's go around. And then you blow. I'm not having any sound being produced. I honestly wasn't expecting that. So here's some things that you can do to get this method to work, some tweaks you can make, and you'll have to keep testing it. And then of course, if you can't get this to work, I'm going to show you what you can do instead. So the first thing that I like to do is I like to cut the top shorter. So see right now how it still kind of splays out a little bit? I can visibly see that it's still sealed a little further down. So I'm going to cut this even shorter. You can take your knife and just kind of gently shave off the top. What I like to do is I like to put it on the stool again and gently slice through it. See how it's dark still there? It's still on the right side of the dark. Where it gets lighter, this is where it starts becoming hollow. So I want to trim just a little bit more off. Again, we don't want to actually open the top up, but we want to trim off as much of this top as we can. All right, if we look here, I went too far. See that hollow? So if you go too far, you're gonna have to start over. All right, so I got a new stalk here. I've already cut the leaf off, and off camera, I cut it shorter than I did that first one. Very important though, it's still close. So I'm going to, just like I did on the last one, make my slit. And really it all comes down to how you make the slit, and that's the hardest part to get right. It's so simple yet not easy. So I just made my slit. I'm gonna try blowing through this, see if it produces a note, and then I'll show you the next troubleshooting step. All right, so when I blow through this, the air's not going out. It's like I'm blowing and I'm just puffing up my cheeks. So that means that this little slit we cut is staying sealed closed. We need to be open just enough so that way it can vibrate to produce the sound. So we have a couple options. What I would do first is I would take my pocket knife and do the little wiggle to open it up, and then take my fingers and kind of do this number. I'm just kind of reaching in and pulling, a little bit of scraping, just to kind of get it to stay open a little bit. So let's try this now. All right, so I hear air going through, but there's no actual vibrating. So what I'm going to do next, if I'm still not producing sound, I'm going to slice just a little bit longer. Again, don't slice very much each time because you can always slice more. You can't unslice a zucchini stem. Basically what I'm going to do is, if I'm not producing sound, I will trim this top piece down as much as I can, and then I'm just going to play around with this opening. So I might kind of push just to kind of bend it open a little more. Again, I might kind of pull it open with my fingers, and then I might drop it, just for good measure. Now with these ones, you do want to blow gently. So if you're blowing really hard, like, oh, hey, there we go. We're on the right track. If you get any kind of sound, you're on the right track. Now it's just a matter of figuring out the specifics of playing your squash horn. So it might be a matter of placement of your lips around it. Like sometimes I'll have the slit, I usually play with the slit facing up, but sometimes I'll rotate it to the side and bite down a little bit with my teeth. Sometimes that kind of stabilizes that opening to allow it to vibrate without sealing up. So what I did just there is I had the opening towards the top, and I just rolled it a little bit in my mouth. I'm kind of biting with my teeth. So at this point, I want to make a little bit better of a sound. I'm going to slice down just a little bit more. There we go. That's the sound that I'm going for, and now we got it. So the thing is, when you watch a lot of these videos, what people do is they hack the leaf off, they clean the little stickies off so they're not getting stuck in your lip, they make a slice, and then they blow and a sound magically comes out. I'm not that talented. It takes me many tries and a lot of tweaking. Odds are you're going to find the same thing. You might have a really great zucchini plant that just lends itself to making zucchini trumpet horns. But if you're like me and you're the average person who's never done this before, it might take a little bit of work. So again, things that can help this method work. Slice the top down. Again, do not open it, but slice it down as much of that excess off the top, because I think that extra thickness prevents it from vibrating as well. And then play around with the slit. You do want the slit to start pretty close to the sealed end. You obviously don't want to slice through the top, but start small, pull it open, see if you can make a sound. Sometimes blow softly, sometimes blow a little harder. If you're not getting a sound, pull it open, slice a little further down. Keep adjusting that opening. That's what you've got to adjust to get this to work. Mess around with your technique. Bite down a little bit, loosen your lips around it, different things to hopefully produce a sound. Once you get a feel for it and you produce a sound, you're going to find it much easier to play. It's just sometimes hard getting the right combination of everything to produce the note. One thing I will mention is my lips are all the way beyond the opening. Although I have had some that I made the slit really long, and then I could kind of move my lips over the end of the opening just a little bit and it would change the pitch, so that was kind of cool. Again, don't blow too softly, don't blow too hard. It's all about finding the right amount of air to send through to create that vibration that'll actually create a tone. More fun things you can do with this. You can cut it shorter if you want to create a different pitch. So here's what this one sounds like right now. I'm gonna hack it down. So it went higher in pitch because the tube is shorter, so it changes how the wavelengths vibrate. If you want to get really fancy, you can add some note holes. So I just take my knife and poke it through. Again, just poke it through one side and just kind of create a little opening. Create another note down here. Create 3 notes you can play hot cross buns, or some semblance of hot cross buns. Those tones were obviously not the right distance apart. But anyways, hopefully you get the idea. I would really encourage you to try playing around. I think this is the most fun one to play because I think it just creates such a unique sound. However, if you can't get this method to work after trying and trying and trying, don't worry. There's a way that you can still get sound from this. What you're going to do is you can use the same exact zucchini stem. So let's say this wasn't making sound. Right now what we've got a slit through just the one side. I've got my knife there. So if you want to make it playable, and it's going to be a different kind, I'm going to put my knife in a slit, go all the way through the other side, and cut up through the top. That's going to create this split kind of reed. And I'll put this in my mouth, again, putting my lips beyond the split, and then I'm going to blow hard. It's like nature's whoopee cushion. Again, with this, you can change the pitch by cutting it shorter. So here's what it sounds like now. Cut it shorter. Change it. Almost sounds like a duck call, I feel like, when you get shorter and shorter. I mean, some kind of like weird sickly duck. Again, you can add note holes. Anyways, these are a lot of fun. I hope you all enjoy playing your squash horns. As a quick note, I'm using stems from a zucchini squash, like the green ones, the ones that everybody grows, and then you hit that point in the summer where everyone's trying to give them away for free because you're producing too many. But in theory, this will work with any kind of squash that has hollow stems. So you don't have zucchini, but you're growing some other type of squash, you might be able to get this to work. I will say zucchini squash are the most ideal plant for this because they have such long and thick stems. The longer and thicker the zucchini stem, I find you get better tones from it. And I'm realizing I am not even in focus. It's getting really dark out here. It's kind of cooled down, so that's nice. But y'all, it is hotter than a fart in a mitten out here. I'm going to wrap this video up. I hope y'all enjoyed these projects. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching and happy crafting.